to play the final. The ones that did play took back good stories with them, obviously. That's why, and then the security team that was here last month, they gave it full marks for the final and for the semi-finals. The security arrangements, it's all down to him.
That was a huge boost, by the way, the ICC security consultant coming here.
It's all down to him. He went out there and he did it. He said he was going to do it and he did it. So like you said in the initial thing, he was bullish, but he's backed it up.
Absolutely no. I mean, this is what hard work does, and that's the lesson that we need to learn. If you work hard enough and if you have tunnel vision, you'll be successful. And so far, the PSL, against all odds, is doing very, very well. Yeah. So we'll be looking forward to it. The first game begins on the 22nd of February. Let's move on to our next topic now. India versus South Africa. India thrashed the South Africans in the one-dayers, and in the T20s, they got off to a wonderful start by beating the South Africans in the first game by 28 runs. They'll be meeting them in the second game at Centurion, and I think it's safe to say that the Indians are favourites once again. I'll begin with you, Noman. They've been brilliant on this tour, even in the test matches. Even though they lost, I thought they played brilliantly in the third game. They were competitive throughout the test series. They smashed the South Africans in the one-days. And in this T20 match, once again, their top order came to the fore. Shikhar Dhawan made a very enterprising 72, and then Bhuvneshwar Kumar picking up 5 wickets. So I think it's safe to say that they'll go into the second one as favourites.
Well, in the test series, they managed to bowl South Africa out in all of their 6 innings, which is a great achievement when an Asian team is playing in South Africa. Then in the ODI series, although they got the pitches which they wanted, but still I think the conditions in South Africa, especially in the Highveld where 3 matches were played, you expect a lot of bounce from those wickets. And the way Shikhar Dhawan and Kohli and even Rohit Sharma played, and the way their bowlers complemented their batsmen, especially Kuldeep Yadav, I think that was amazing. But the best part about this series, even though South Africa lost the ODI series and lost the first T20 as well, the best part for me was their wicketkeeper batsman, Klaasen. I think he is a real class act. And I tell you on record, if this is his first series, then either Quinton de Kock isn't coming back or Klaasen isn't going out of the team. He has to be played as a batsman. He is an amazing talent. He is going to win a lot of games for South Africa in the future.
Well, that is one bright spot for the South Africans, I guess, Klaasen coming good. But the way the Indians have dominated the South Africans in the one-dayers and in the first game in the T20s, yes, this isn't the strongest South African side, but it's by no means a weak South African side. So the Indians have done very well. It's just quite alarming to see the South Africans faltering the way they are.
I think their bench strength has been exposed, firstly. When de Villiers goes out of the team, you feel, oh no, South Africa's in trouble. Previously, that wasn't the case. Amla is getting on in age. Dumini isn't stepping up like how, with all his experience and everything, he should be. And so, I don't know, you really saw India come together as a unit. You can't take the credit away from them.
Absolutely not.
It's just, they're a very, very strong unit. They're a complete unit. They've got spinners that take the ball away from the right-hander and into the right-hander, and that also both wrist spinners. So it's not easy. And on top of that, they're fast bowlers, like you said, Bhuvaneshwar. But, you know, in different patches, different fast bowlers have stepped up in the tests, in the one-days, in the T20s. They rested him in the final one-day, Bhuvaneshwar, because he was showing fatigue, and he came back and look what he did in the test. So it's a mixture of the two. This is more than a weak South Africa. This is a transitional South Africa. And they haven't been in this state, like, you know, when they brought Graham Smith and all in. This is the last time South Africa was in this sort of spot where, you know, but still to get mauled in the one-days and the limited in the final test match where everyone thought, okay, let the Indians put up a score. They bowled them out.
No, it's quite surprising. I mean, Gul hit the nail on the head there when he said that this Indian team has clicked in every single department. Because if you remember, we all grew up in the 90s watching Indian cricket. It was mainly their batsmen. If India won games, it was because of their batting. But now you look at their bowling lineup. It's been both India's top order and India's bowlers. The fast bowlers were brilliant. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, he was a little bit flat in the one-day series, but it was good enough. It was mainly Jasprit Bumrah and Hardik Pandya did very well. They put the pressure on. They didn't let the South Africans get away. And then the spinners came in, the wrist spinners, Kuldeep Yadav and of course Chahal. And South Africans couldn't pick them. As simple as that.
Well, leadership matters a lot. Virat Kohli has become a very, very good captain. He has matured over the years, and his own performance is also very good. And when a captain performs, 9 times out of 10 your team is going to win. The morale is going to be boosted. When we compare Virat Kohli with his counterpart, Aiden Markram, I think it was pretty premature of the Cricket South Africa to name him as a captain in only his 3rd ODI.
It's just what the South Africans do, though. They like throwing younger players into the deep, don't they? I mean, Clive Rice, I think, was the first one. Then they had Kepler Wessels, but after that, they wanted young captains like Hansi Cronje. Then, of course, we all remember Graham Smith. I think that's just the way the South Africans do things.
But Hansi Cronje and Smith had played a handful of games before they were named captains. But Aiden Markram is relatively new, only I think 6 test matches and a couple of ODIs before this series. So they are planning to invest on Aiden Markram, and they have already told him that he's their future captain. So good luck to them.
I mean, they really did throw him into the deep end, didn't they? And a lot
wasn't even in
of
the
people
same
are
battle.
arguing that that didn't do South Africa any favors.
He wasn't even in the opener slot initially. He started at number 4, I think. And that was... I know it's the way South Africa likes to do things, but we also like to throw young people, 14-year-olds, into test matches. But, there comes a time in a place where you understand that, okay, is Markram ready to take this team on? He's taking on a rampant India. They've got probably
Confident India, yeah.
Probably one of the best batsmen, if not top 5 of all time, in Kohli. And you've got all these guys. You've got limited bowling resources. You've got limited, AB de Villiers is in and out. Like that. I don't know if that was the correct thing to. Maybe Dumini or Amla should have taken it on for at least the first 3 one-days, and then they could have thought about it.
Well, actually, there's a lot of quota system issues in South Africa. The black players and the white players, they have to include 6 colored players in their team and 5 white players. But over the years, you have seen they have always named the white players as captains. They have always been reluctant to name the colored players as their captains. I know you'll recall Justin Ontong being a captain once, and but mostly they named the white players as captain. Dumini has been named the captain for the T20 series, but they had no other option because de Villiers was out.
They did name Amla. Amla was the captain. They selected Amla as the captain. They named Amla as the captain. He stepped down.
He stepped down.
Yeah, he did. But there might be something behind that. He stepped down himself, but his performances as captain were very, very poor. There are many examples in history that the best of batsmen have proved to be poor captains, like Sachin Tendulkar, even Brian Lara.
Yeah, that's true. But again, we can take, as Gul was saying, you can't take anything away from the Indians. And Numan was quite right that Virat Kohli has led this side brilliantly. His intensity and his energy is infectious. But who's really helped him out, I believe, is the old captain, the former captain behind the stumps, MS Dhoni, the way he's marshalling the fielders, helping, constantly giving Virat Kohli advice, constantly giving the spinners advice. I think having him in the side has added great value to this Indian unit.
The way they've handled the
Continues
succession,
to add value, yeah.
the way they've handled the succession, the way, you're talking about when we grew up with the Indian teams of the early 2000s, late 90s. This South Africa reminds me of that. There's, where you had Tendulkar, you had Dravid, you had Laxman, you had these great players, but they wouldn't really perform, or they would blow away someone on one day and get bowled out for like 80. Was I think Murli took them to task in Sharjah.
They lost to Kenya at Port Elizabeth, if you remember, back in 2001.
Yeah, but this South Africa is reminding me of that, where you've got all these great names, Amla, de Villiers, but they're more individuals. India is a unit.
Because they're strong in every department, though. They're outfielding South Africa, and they've got bowlers who can bowl with a new ball, and they've got some of the best death bowlers in the world. I remember in the 90s, India didn't have a hope in hell at the death.
Yeah.
Now they've got quality death bowlers.
It all stems from the IPL. All these guys they found, Yadav, Chahal, a lot of their they didn't just go with the glitz and glamour. They went to find players.
Right.
They went to find a system. Dhoni was there. And if you look at, since the time Ganguly came in, the way they've handled succession, it's so smooth. Dhoni's talking to Kohli, telling him what to do. Kohli's listening to him. There's no clash of egos or this or that. You know, there are no cliques.
Right.
It's handled beautifully.
Well, yeah, it's been wonderful cricket. The T20 series so far, it's gotten off to a good start for the Indians. They won by 28 runs. We saw what they did in the one-dayers, and the Test series, of course, was very competitive, and we saw some very skillful cricket there.